Well, sometimes while browsing YouTube I came across videos called like brand new color film, that sort of thing, and what a surprise, it's always repacked Kodak motion picture film. So the same as CineStill but under a different brand. I was talking about it at least once, that there is no possibility that suddenly some small manufacturer will start producing color film, that today I can decide to produce film in my garage. I don't have a garage, but that's not the point. Centacolor 100 is not any different, with one exception. Centacolor 100 is made with Kodak Aerocolor 4, and no, it's not the same as Aerochrome. Aerocolor is a true color aerial film still produced. I don't really understand why. I mean, it's not used in aerial photography just to provide a film look, so there are probably some good reasons why it's not replaced by digital, but I couldn't find it anyway. So maybe you know why and want to share your thoughts in the comment section, and by the way, subscribe and hit the like button, or just write that I'm an ignorant who doesn't know how to use Google. Back to Centacolor. On the box there is clear information that this film was made in the USA but spooled in Finland, and I believe that Centa was the first company which put Aerocolor on the market. However, today Luminar 100, Electra 100, Washi X are the stacks with the same Kodak film inside, so if you want to try Aerocolor you can buy what's cheaper or more available. One more thing, Aerocolor doesn't have an orange mask, so the negative is, let's say, transparent, so it may be a little bit tricky while scanning, but if my lab handled it, you probably would too. And the second thing, there is no DX code, but most cameras in this situation are gonna rate this film as 100 ISO, so it's also not a big deal at all. So after a short break we're back in Malta, and this time we're gonna shoot in Valletta, but to game the system a little bit we took a bus to Sliema and then a ferry to the capital, just to avoid overloaded direct buses and have an additional attraction for a couple euros. Talking of overloaded places, Valletta is crowded like Shibuya Crossing, so I quickly realized that it may not be so easy to find some interesting spots to shoot, unless you are a street photographer, but if you can't afford Leica M6 and any interaction with stranger is out of your comfort zone, you have to be creative and patient, and none of these traits fits me at all. Anyway, I loaded the film and immersed myself into this lovely city. I told you in the last episode from Malta that you can go back in time here, and the best example is this place. The oldest record store in the world, at least the owners claim so. Because despite a big investigation which took place a few years ago, there is no proof that this shop has been selling music records since 1885. And even if so, what did they sell? I believe that phonograph cylinders were put on the market a few years later, but all in all it's probably over 100 years of history. The shop survived 2 world wars and it's still running in the same place. I like this one. Of course, this car on the left doesn't fit the composition at all, there might not be the scooter either. I'm not sure why I didn't take that shot vertically, but hey, nothing lost. Well, don't know, maybe it looks better, but it loses some content, if you ask me. Let's check the grain. It's smooth, it's fine, and looks like what we would expect from an aerial film. I like the stack so far. Triton's fountain is probably the first thing you see when arriving in Valletta, right next to the bus stops and the entrance to the city. Funny thing is that it looks quite old, but it was built in the 50s. Despite this, it suits the surroundings so well, and today is fully restored because for over 30 years this large platter was supported by a pillar to help Triton's holding it. Now it looks almost like in 1959, and with no doubt it's some kind of an icon. So Santa Color seems to give some kind of specific orange shade, very saturated, like mixed with pink or red. It's of course easy to correct with tint and white balance, it may depend on the scanning process, but with no doubt it has this warm vintage look and vivid colors. I really love this one. It's not about the shot itself, but the colors look amazing. This azure sea, those greens, in the sunlight Santa Color performs just brilliant. Old signboards as light boxes are the showcase of Malta. And yes, I know that their historical value is perhaps not as great as that of all, let's say, real monuments, but still it gives this country a unique character, and this Grand Harbour Hotel sign is just slightly less majestic than the famous Royce Motel sign on Road 66. Okay, I got a little carried away, but it looks quite nice, doesn't it? We found this lovely place on the edge of Valletta, a small fisherman's village hidden below the road with pastel cabins and colorful boats, and just right next to the cat sanctuary. So as you may notice already, Santa Color is pretty contrasting, and basically there is nothing wrong about it, although while shooting scenes unevenly lit, so with some shadows mixed with strong sunlight, it's hard to balance the exposure. This shot got a lot of correction in Lightroom, so you can see the original photo on the left, and what's interesting, there's a lot of information in the scans. You can even recover those clouds from highlights which seem to be completely blown out. And if you are still not into this look, you can take off some contrast to overcome those lighting differences. There are no cable cars, but admit it, this steep narrow street has some San Francisco vibe. I like this shot so much, those garbage in the foreground, the laundry, those characteristic Maltese shutters and doors. All these contrasts make the scene realistic, like you can really feel the life going on here. And the varied light gives some depth to this photo. So this view is gonna be the last shot from Valletta, and it's time for some final thoughts, but well, I think I've already said everything about Centacolor 100, or maybe I should call this Kodak Aerocolor 4. Anyway, the biggest con for me is the ISO. I mean, 100 ISO is not a very versatile film speed. For the summer vacation shots it's great, but when you find yourself in shader places, closing the aperture can be a problem. But as long as you're using it in good lighting condition, it rewards you with nice vibrant colors, warm tones, pretty strong contrast, so if that's the look you wanna get, go for it. And as for me, I'm gonna buy this film again, for the orange tones that leans into red, for those great blues. What can I say, it won't be the film of the first choice, but I really like it. For me it's like mixing Kodak Gold with some oversaturated Soviet film, so you get some modern fine grain look but with vintage character, and everything with a vintage vibe is cool, isn't it?